Hi everyone, it's Athena here from Courage Coaching. The focus of today's video is going to be about narcissistic siblings. Now, in a narcissistically abusive home, we have a narcissistic mother or father, or both parents are narcissistic, and the children, usually one or two of them, will end up being narcissistic as well, depending on the severity of the abuse. Now, if one of the siblings is the golden child, so the parent will give them preferential treatment, they will give them praise, gifts, they will never be able to do anything wrong in the parent's eyes, and they will be sort of put up on a pedestal and treated like they are the favorite child, the best child, the most accomplished child, then this child has a high likelihood of becoming a narcissist. Whereas the scapegoat child, the one that always makes mistakes, the one that isn't good enough, the one that seems to get most of the abuse, that is the child that will suffer the most. That will probably be the empath. And the golden child is a lot more enmeshed with the narcissistic parent, and the narcissistic parent will usually pit the narcissistic child against the other non-narcissistic children, which also means that the golden child will probably take part in the narcissistic parent's verbal and emotional abuse against the empath child. So it's an extremely painful experience for the empath child. If you are somebody who is the empath, or who was scapegoated, or who was the lost child, so you weren't given any attention growing up, then you will have suffered severely. You will have been bullied severely, not only by your parents, but also by your narcissistic brother or sister. You would have noticed your parents constantly reward your brother or sister. You will have noticed how they cannot do anything wrong and you are the only one that's at fault. They never get punished for anything, but you are the one that gets punished. This is extremely painful to see. It is extremely painful to feel that your parents love your sister or brother more than they love you, which of course isn't true, because narcissistic parents aren't able to love their children unconditionally. They only choose to focus on one of their children as the golden child because they need to feel good about themselves. So if the child does good, then that reflects on them and they look good to the outside world. But if you are the lost child or the scapegoat child and you are an empath, you will have suffered greatly. Now, traits of a narcissistic sibling are basically the same as a narcissistic parent. They always need to be the center of attention. They always draw attention to themselves, and they will be quite rude if somebody tries to draw attention away from them. They constantly seek approval and praise. They need narcissistic supply from everybody around them. They don't accept blame even when it's evident that they've done something wrong or that they are responsible. And they constantly want to remain grandiose in the eyes of their parent or in the eyes of everybody in general. They unfortunately lack empathy, so even though they may pretend that they understand your pain and they may try to offer advice as a, caring brother or sister, the reality is that they really do not care. They really pretend that they care, but they don't, and the attention will then be refocused back on them. As a narcissistic sibling, they usually will do a favor for you, but you will forever then feel like you owe them. They will refuse to admit any weaknesses they have, or any areas that they may need to improve in, even if it's negatively affecting their life or the life of others. They don't respect people's wishes, they don't respect people's boundaries, so you as a sibling will have your boundaries invaded constantly, your wishes will not be respected. The narcissistic sibling will react with anger to any criticism, and they're very good at turning the tables, and if you accuse them of something, they will then turn it around and make you out to be the one that's done the wrong thing, not them. They are very exploitative, like the narcissistic parents are. So typical traits of narcissists. So in the case where you discover that your sibling is a narcissist, how do you deal with this? You deal with it in the same way that you would if you discovered that your parents were. You set boundaries. You can decide whether to go no contact with your sibling if things get really bad, if nothing changes, if you've given a million chances and you don't see any of their behavior changing for the better. If you're constantly feeling hurt, if you're still being bullied, then cutting all communication off or keeping communication to a bare minimum is probably going to be the best thing for you. One of the most important things you can do is, even if you do set boundaries with your sibling, you have to also make sure that you do not share any sensitive information with your sibling anymore. The less your sibling knows about you, the less that they can use it against you, the less that they can hurt you with it. So do not share any information with them that they can use against you. Keep all conversations superficial if you have to be in contact with them, just as you would with your narcissistic parents. And generally limit your siblings' involvement in your life. And do not let yourself get used. A narcissistic sibling will be just as manipulative as your narcissistic parent will have been. And when setting boundaries with your narcissistic sibling, keep enforcing these boundaries. They are not going to like it at first. Narcissists do not like people setting boundaries with them. They just want to constantly cross them. So when you first set boundaries, then you have to be prepared for them to get nastier, for them to say even more hurtful things to you. But keep enforcing those boundaries. Keep saying that you will not accept this behavior, that you will not see them anymore. Keep your boundaries in place, because if you don't, then they will walk all over you and they will keep pushing you and pushing you. If your sibling was the only other sibling you had, and it was just you and your parents and your sibling against you, then that's extremely isolating. So you will have a lot of healing to do, and you need to seek out a mental health professional or an experienced coach who understands narcissistic abuse. Not a lot of psychologists out there understand the severity of narcissistic abuse, and you will need a lot of time to heal. You will need to let out all the emotions. You will need to grieve the fact that you didn't have a healthy childhood. This is paramount. This is something that I talk about in most of my videos. Grieving the loss of a healthy childhood is a huge thing. And only when you've grieved that and there are no tears left to shed, only then will you know you are healed. Only then will you be able to move forward with your life. So I wish you the best of luck with your journey of healing. You are not alone. You may have not had a family that was able to support you, but you are able to create your own family. Whether that family is filled with just friends, or with just a partner, then it doesn't matter, because you at least have one person or two people on your side, and you need that. You need your own healthy family. So create a family. Find those people that are accepting of you no matter what, and that love you no matter what. That's the end of the video today. I really hope that it's helped. You are not alone, so please share your experiences in the comments below. And if you have any questions, as always, then feel free to send me an email. Or if you have a idea for a video that you would like me to do, then please let me know. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I will see you in my next video. Take care.